Hello and welcome to the Crow's Nest. My name is Brandon, and I come at you today with hope in my heart that our Mariners are still going to be able to continue the magic here, keep this going, keep the playoff hopes alive. And we've got one of our last two games here on deck today. I'm a little bit late starting here as we're in the bottom of the second inning with Mariners already making a little bit of noise, not yet with any runs, but on the base paths. J.P. Crawford, who's put the team up on his back past couple of games, finds himself out on first base after a base hit here with Julio up to the plate and a 2-0 count. Julio gets underneath this pitch, sends it high back and just behind the home plate dugout. Hope everyone's having a good night. Miraculous Mariners do remain alive, do remain here potentially in contention. See what they can maybe do here. We had the Blue Jays today indeed lose, interestingly enough. So potentially this could be setting the stage. We'll have to see here. 2-1 pitch here. It's a breaking ball, and Julio's just able to foul that one back. Nice level swing on it. What's up, Devo? How you doing, man? Go Mariners today, brother. Hoping they can pull this one off. It's been pretty miraculous to see them kind of be able to hold on and hang on here, and it's going to come right down to the wire. I'm sure you're stoked on it too. Ooh, nice pitch. Boy. Pitcher wanted that one. 3-2. Julio with a good eye. Bit of a struggle this September for Julio, coming off of 429 August. He's dropped back down at 241. Now the power numbers have still been there. 8 bombs. And this one, he's just going to get up underneath it and send it out to right field for an easy play out there and right. Julio was out earlier today working on some batting practice. Jason McEwer, let's go Mariners. Can we do this? We can do it, man. I mean, this is as well as you could like or hope for, right? You certainly would love to have a bit of a lead going down the stretch here and whatnot, but hey, we control our destiny pretty much at this point, I believe. So, win these two games. And Eugenio hits this high and deep to the first base foul side. Megan says USC undefeated, 48-41 against Coach Prime. B, fight on, fight on. I'll tell you what, the Colorado gave your Trojans all they could take. But a great played game by Caleb and Shadur for the most part, and impressive. Fun little opening game this morning to watch. 0-1. Check swing. No, he didn't go. Big Country, how you doing, man? Good to see you in the chat. Everyone's having a great night. See if our Mariners can do this. See if they can pull this off. Maybe I didn't think it'd be a blowout, but damn close. Caleb's him. Caleb is him. Yeah, he's a very, very, very good player. And, yeah, they gave you guys all you could handle. I wasn't expecting it to be that close either. But it was definitely one where, Colorado's got some receivers, especially when Hunter's in there, man. They got some pass catchers. Horn Jr., the Amarian kid. When Hunter's out there, it's a tough offense to defend. If they had an offensive line, they'd be just about unstoppable. Oh, sorry, Big Country. I didn't mean by you're right. We do need a little bit of help. We don't technically control our own destiny. Need a little bit, I guess. A smidge. I misspoke. Hi, kitty. Yeah? How you doing? Okay. You coming to say hi? You coming to say hi? You want to come up here? You can come over here. I'll put you up here. If you want. Is that what you want? Am I going to be doing the laid back thing? Okay. Come on. I got you. I got you. I know. All right, this is gonna be a laid back stream on this one here. All right. So we are 1-0 here to Cal Raleigh with 2 men down. Crawford on at first here. Well, I got to talk to the people. That's the way it goes. Ooh, nice pitch. And he's throwing good to start things out. Mariners have made him work in this first inning, but Big Country's the Blue Jays does help though. That does help a little bit, that's for sure. We can help ourselves too. Ooh, Raleigh. Swung right at the top of that pitch. 1-2. Megan, thank you. I'll let Ollie says hi. What do you think about Ollie says hi? She's quiet. She's in her little baby spot now, so the world's okay now. All right, pitch 21 here for Haney. Raleigh hitting 235 on the year. Bad for the right side. Megan says, it's official. Crazy cat dad now. Probably. Yeah, she's gotten back into this let me sit on your shoulder thing, which is fine. Definitely a typical fall day out here. We turned to fall, winterish real quick out here on the east side. It's gotten cold and chilly out. 2-2 count here to Cal Raleigh. Crawford on first. Kind of wonder if he might be running here. Brian. You got a lefty on the mound. Probably not. You can't get kind of that same lead. Raleigh just gets a little stick on this, knocks it out down on the ground there to third base, picks it up, throws it to second. Out number 3. End of the first inning. Mariners get a hit, but can't make anything of it. Brother's a crazy cat dad. Always 3 cats, and he hates cats. That's a lot of cats. You get past 2, it turns into kind of a lot. It's a lot of 2, to be honest with you, but especially because mine here, she's worth about 2 on her own, aren't you? Yeah, most definitely you are. Most definitely. Yeah, we need the Astros to lose. Come on, Arizona. The game starts in 20 minutes. Minutes or so. If they lose and we win tonight, then we control our destiny on Sunday. There we go. Come on, Stros. Come on, Stros. You're not unstoppable. The All Blacks 196-17. Ooh, lordy. Yeah, that's a beating. That's worse than the Dolphins score last week, Megan. It's worse than the Dolphins score. Yeah, you're really lovey today. I know. I don't know if you guys can hear the purring through the mic. He's definitely happy. Okay, so we got 1-0 now. Start this inning off. Nathaniel Lowe for the Rangers out up to bat. Strike. Ball 1. We weren't playing at 100%. Nice. Well, I think they probably start engraving that championship trophy right now, huh? Yeah. 2-2 count here after Low fouls this off. Castillo looking today to potentially cross over 200 innings pitched. Inside. 3-2. Megan says, this is Pumpkin's thinking. This is how we'll do it every stream now, Dad. Yeah, I know. She's definitely thinking that. No. She's a big girl. I can only sit there and hold her for so long before my arm starts going to sleep. Little 34-pound weight there just... She goes dead weight in the arms. We need some Houston Astro loss tonight. That's what we need. That'd be nice. All right. Castillo with his first walk here. What are you up to? Yeah, you're on camera. Say hi. Don't step on the keyboard. Don't step on the keyboard. Don't step on the keyboard. I know you like the shoulder thing. All right. Strike one on a slider here to Josh Young. 269, 23 home runs, 70 ribbies on the season. Castillo with the pitch. Slider outside. Ball. One and two. Got the benefit of a call on that slider. Mobile Park, packed. Fans on their feet. Some of them. Struck him out with a fastball, top of the zone. Castillo can always go to the cheese, and he went with a high heat right there. Not what Young was looking for. Young, however you pronounce that name. One man out. Up steps Jonah Heim, who takes a mighty big cut. Fouls it back. Strike one. Daniel, Blue Jays just lost. Blue Jays indeed lost. He's not looking too broad. Looking too bad. A one count. Bat on the ground. Double play ball. Ty France up with it. Out there to Crawford. Crawford with a misthrow there. And that will be an error. Crawford just sailed that one too far to the right. Like a pretty good throw by France over there. Very good throw. You've got Castillo covering France got back there to the bag and Castillo put his head up to his head like he already knew the play was about to go to hell. Strike. So 2 men out here, runner on first. Tavares up to the plate here. You went to daylight savings time? Yeah, that always messes me up too, Megan. 1-1. Louis, this team is playing with fire. The way they lose 2-3, the way they lose 2-3 through 2-3 to teams that must improve next year. Offense, Louis. Strike. 1-2. I think we know the pitching is going to be there, and the pitching is probably going to be there. We need to get the offense up to snuff now. And I think if you get into more of a team that can generate 5 runs rather than the 2 more often than not, then you're going to find yourself win a whole lot more games with everything else being kind of as it was. But well said. All right, 1-2 count here now to Tavares. Fouls his pitch off. Boy, nice little shutout here from Castillo would be sure nice today. 1-2 pitch. He tried to give him swing there outside the zone. He didn't take it. Ball 2. So one's hit foul. Castillo already up here now into 37th pitch by the next pitch. Rangers making him work a little bit here. Low. 3-2. Luis says, I mean, losing 2 out of 3 or getting swept. I hope that improves next year. It could be the reason they missed the playoffs this year. Yeah. I feel you on that. I mean, I guess you're meaning at this time of year getting swept 2 or 3. I'm more kind of trying to back it down the line of why do you get swept, Like what's at the head of getting swept? And your rotation's tired out. You've had to lean a little too strongly on that. Not a lot the team can do with that because it's depth issue. But to me, it's been in these games you're losing, you more often not go back to the hitting a bit. All right, so we got a walk here, 2 men on. Castillo, ball 1 here. He's doing pretty good here to start things off. I don't think he's quite pinpoint in with his control here yet. Ranger hitters are at least getting the stick on it. A lot of foul balls here from them through the first couple of innings. But I hope it improves next year no matter what, Louis, too, man. I do on that. Castillo outside. Ball 2. Boy, he's missing kind of far off right now. It ain't a matter of missing by inches. He's missing a good 3 or 4 inches off wherever he's throwing it from. And he's starting to miss high. Ball 3, outside part of the plate. That was a little closer, but make an argument that ball was a strike. But that's a ball. That's a ball. 3-1. You sure like to get the 9-hole hitter here. Three and 2 count. Runners are going to go with the pitch, first and second. Castillo lets loose. This ball's hit up into the air. It looks like this will be playable. There we go. Out number 3. Castillo escapes danger. And we will go into the bottom of the second inning. 0-0. If you mean me more Seahawks, I can't believe the Mariners are the only team not to reach the World Series. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Something let me get some more coffee. Hold on. Oh, I think when it comes down to reaching the World Series, if you mean more Seahawks, it's definitely a long period of that time. I think you haven't necessarily had the greatest of ownership that's been at the head of it. I think the closest you came was probably in the mid 90s, and you had kind of the biggest disparity you're going to find out there in paying payroll and how much your ownership was willing to spend versus a team like the Yankees at that time that was going to spend by far more than anybody else. And you can't help but see echoes of that right now when you have a Mariner payroll that's about 130 million this year. And then you have all three teams that have been ahead of us kind of coming into today, being the Astros, Blue Jays, and Rangers, all paying well north of $200 million on their payroll. And then $100 million more in the case of the Astros and the Rangers, I believe. Might be the Blue Jays on it. But the point is it's just when you get to that amount of money of a difference of one team spending versus the other team, I know in baseball it's not as much, I think, of a sport of other sports where you can kind of pay for that production. It's always a bit of a crapshoot. But at the same point in time, they're getting the production from what they're paying are these two teams. And it is the spot I go to well, yeah, if you're not going to pay, if you're going to go 100 million less than the other ball clubs out there, not that everybody's spending that amount of money, but the ones that are winning are going to go out there and be willing to throw that money around. Well, then it's going to be very hard to do it. You're going to have to be perfect in your scouting evaluation, perfect in your player decision. It makes it rough. Teoscar Hernandez is going to start off here at the bottom of the second inning, and he's going to find himself in a 3-1 count here against Haney. Ball's fouled off. Luis says, over the last three games, we've been swept by Rangers, New York, New York 2 out of 3, Rays 2 out of 3, Baltimore 3 out of 3. Dodgers, this should be a huge for offseason being those teams at the top of the division. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of what I'm talking about. Teoscar Hernandez strikes out. I think in the case of all those teams too, and maybe the exception of the Rays, they all spend a lot of money, But I mean, for me, Louis, that's where I try to drill a little bit further down because it's losing the series are bad, but then you go, okay, why you lose the series? Well, it's a combination of the pitching didn't quite hold up all the way through, and then how you hit it through this time period didn't hold all the way through. It's a bit of those combination of those two factors as opposed to saying, well, it was the bullpen and it was the defense. We want to, because if we're going to get to fixing it, we got to get specific about what is the cause of the problems, and the cause is not just losing the series at the end of the year. It's why are you wore down at the end of the year? Why do you not have the hitters in place to get this done? Why were your pitchers wore down? And I think once you start to unpack all that, then we can kind of narrow in a little bit closer in on, what it is that is the fix, which just in my personal opinion comes back to being the bats, the ability to play to your stadium from a hitting perspective, but beyond that, just the ability to produce more runs. And I think if you do that, you're going to stress the pitching less over the course of the season. I also think that the pitching is probably not going to sustain, especially in pitching staff, the amount of injuries we had where, we got 3-4 guys down injury-wise that you had thought would all be part of the mix of a rotation. But it's like, why you lose those series? Well, you lose those series, Louis, because your starting pitching isn't as strong. Why isn't it as strong? Well, because you couldn't go to your 6-man rotation that you wanted to go to when Hancock went down with his injury. So if your arms are a little bit more lightened up, if they're a little bit more fresher, is that going to make a difference? I think so. If you're in more of a contender mode and you actually played consistent ball throughout the year, do you probably hold on to a Seawald and maybe your bullpen's a little stronger? Probably would. But then I come down to the bottom line for me is it's the hitting. You gotta get the hitting going here. Ty France first pitch swinging, and he's just gonna hit this right up into the air, and this is out number 1. Or out number 2, sorry. Megan says, I know there's no cap in baseball, B, but do you think that something like that would work in baseball? Yeah, no, it would definitely work, Megan. I would welcome it, to be honest with you. I think it would help the sport out, as the sport is right now missing parity to a considerable degree, I would say. I just also don't believe in watching this and seeing this now over the course of a 3-decade period with teams that are willing to outspend those teams, not just us, but any team in the league, by $100 million, that, that team is not going to be able to be smart as Einstein in order to get to the playoffs, which is what you have to do to counteract that. Everybody knows the story, Megan. I'm sure you've seen it. Moneyball. And then this whole story of the A's and them going on that 20-game winning streak and getting themselves in the playoffs and right? But it only got them to such a far point, because eventually you reach to Moneybag City and you're just a little bit short of the mark. 2-0 here to Rojas. Runner on first. Strike. Ooh, didn't get the call there. 3-0. But it's not like the Moneyball won them a World Series. And all Moneyball did in its creation is just cause the big dogs who spend the money to adopt the Moneyball principles. So there was no more advantage really left for the A's. That's why the A's have never been able to turn this back on again. Eventually you got to be willing to spend. 3-1 count here to Josh Rojas. Runner will get his lead from first. Rojas, nice swing there. Hits it hard out into left field. The Rangers were in somewhat of a quasi shift there for Rojas, and he just hit it the other way. Rojas might be a guy in the mix into next year we can look at a little bit more further on. I don't know. He's definitely impressed me watching him. This is the kind of stroke you need to have. You watch Ty France get right up under that first pitch this inning and send it right up as a pop-up. You're going, okay, well, Ty, why are you trying to get up under the ball? You're a line drive hitter. And right there, he shows you when you're actually employing your line drive stroke like Rojas was there, what that can do. Because even if you're hitting it on the ground, you're hitting it hard somewhere. All right, here comes Sam Haggerty. Dripped so hard, just dripped a little bit less this year at 250, but still dripping. Still dripping. He's going to take 0-1 here with 2 runners on. Both Mariners and the Rangers are making these starting pitchers work. Both have crossed 40 pitches here already through 2 innings. Haggerty bats this one foul, 0-2. Then losing Ray. Agreed, Louis. I mean, that's the part where, to me, I think that's the fix that's in-house, right? Because you have your rotation where it is right now. You feel good about it. You bring back Marco. You bring back Robbie Ray. You bring back Hancock at some point, potentially, depending on where his injury situation is. I mean, you can even go and make another trade for just an insurance guy to kind of prepare in advance at this point. But I think if you go into a season, trotting out 6 or 7 or 8 starter level arms from where your minor league is to where your starting rotation is. I don't feel like you feel like we're going to get to 9 or 10 at some point this year. And we're only going to get to that 9 or 10 point after we've crossed the trade deadline, and we can't do anything about it via a trade. So I think they don't have to do a lot of adjustments when it comes to me to pitching, and I think Dipoto can always put a bullpen together. But this lineup. Wow, the Rangers already got the bullpen working here. Tells you how important this game is, huh? Haggerty, 0-2 pitch. Haggerty's hanging hard. That swag's dripping off that bat here as he's able to foul a couple pitches off here, 0-2. Haney's trying to just get him through. He knows he's getting his pitch count up here a bit. Rangers got Bush working in the pen. Haney going to work here. Batted foul again. I think that's the fourth one Haggerty's just gotten enough of. Devo says we need some ham swaggerty. That's right. Drip so hard. Give me some of that ham swaggerty from last year. Give me one of those. Give me a ham dog. Ham dog. Ham dong. Runners on first and second. 0-2 count. Haney with his 46th pitch of the game here. Fucking Hags do. Gets it off the end of the bat, and it just flicks it right out to center field. Who's right there to make the catch. Out number 3, the Mariners threaten with a couple of runners. A base hit, but they're not able to bring him in. Nitro Hawk, really hope we make the playoffs, but it feels like we would get destroyed. Yeah, I don't know if I'd have a lot of confidence we could pull this off in the playoffs with where we quite are at right now. Even more Seahawks, that's why we don't have Seattle Supersonics. Seattle's cheap. It can be, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the ownership that was in place prior to Schultz was not the worst ownership. They would spend money. Payton got paid. Kemp got paid. You spend some money on other guys. It's kind of you spending money was what got you in the most problem back in the day, because when you gave Jim McIlvaine more money than Sean Kemp had, Kemp was like, and that just started to cause the whole rift in that whole situation. But then once you got to Bennett stopped spending. Part of that, though, too, is Nitros. It's like what Ken Behring was doing, or what Jeff Smolian was doing with the Mariners when he owned the team prior to selling him to Nintendo, is that if you want to move a franchise from a city, if that's your inherent motive, what you do as a first step in that motive is that you saw the team down and you make them crappy, so it more placates. You have the bad team, fans don't show up, and then the owner can come out and say, well, the fans aren't supporting the team. I mean, what do you expect me to do? It's a rich man's trick. But yeah, if you're in any sport, certainly an item comes up when we talk about the Seahawks a bunch. If you're in any sport and you're looking at how, we've got to see how we can save our money. We got to see how we're not, spending too much on pay. You're operating from a point then of having to overcome that. That's not a strength then that you get to work through. That means other teams have an advantage you don't get to call upon. And sports, as competitive as it is in the modern age, in whatever sport it may be, when you stop leaving advantages on the table, it gets harder and harder to go out there and win. Top of the third, Castillo out back on the hill with a slider, and it'll be a ball inside here. Rangers are going to turn back over the lineup here now. Marcus Semien up to the plate. He's 0 for 1. Check swing. Batted foul. Megan says, I guess I'm used to having the cap in every sport I watch down here, and I think it's unfair that a few teams can spread whatever they like, and the poor teams have no way to keep up. Agreed. I just don't think it's not even close to fair. And we're talking a monstrous difference, right? It's not a matter of, the NBA, it's a little bit different because teams have a luxury tax. So if you go over the cap, few teams want to do that because it really penalizes them for doing it. Whereas in Just not, baseball has it too, but it's really high up and it doesn't really penalize teams for doing it that bad. Castillo starts out here 3-1 against Simeon. He's kind of fallen behind a few of these hitters here in the last couple of innings as he's still kind of struggling to find his spot, and he gets one hell of a call there from Blue. Umpire's been wild with the zone today, and that continues as he calls a strike on what looks like a pitch that was not in the zone. But he's going to walk him here outside. Ball 4. Louis, will you go live for the Seahawks? For sure, Louis. I'll be live. I go live tomorrow, and then I'll be live on Monday night. So I got a couple of shows over the next couple of days, actually. But 100%. Ball 1 here. That pitch looked good. This umpire strike zone is just a little on the wonky side here to start things off. And both ways, by the way. I'm not just saying us. Seager takes a hack at that one. Megan, I don't think it is fair either, though. I agree with you. I can understand maybe allowing a little bit of discrepancy in that, but I don't know. There's a point where it gets a little bit too much to me. One. Let's deal with the pitch. Fouled back. 1-2. Oh no, fouled out to left. There's a play here for Haggerty. Sorry. That'll be out number 1. There we go. Nice job. Yeah, we didn't get a new stadium. They've had a stadium since '99. It's relatively new. Louis says, and Ray was a Cy Young, and one real pitcher can't replace him. Definitely gets hard too, Louis. I think if you still had Marco there, maybe you'd be okay. I mean, and really it's more about even that pitcher being real productive and being just he would have allowed them to go to like what they want to do in September, which was the 6-man rotation, or even given an opportunity over the course of a year to give the occasional guy, a time off through the rotation, give them an extra week of rest. It's like those little things like that add up into September to where your team can be primed and ready for making a run as opposed to exhausted and gassed out, which is a little bit of where I feel like they've looked a little bit close to at times here in the September run, like doing what they did in August, kind of, tapped them out at that point. But we'll see what they do this offseason. Be tracking it very, very closely. 0-2 count here to Grossman, who's 1 for 1 in this game. Runner gets his lead on first. Swing and a miss. Take yourself a seat on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball in the back edge of the zone. Whew. Nice pitch there. That's a little bit more like it, painting out on the zone there. Baseball and Beyond, what's up, man? Says, I love Mariners. I love Mariners too, brother. Two outs now. Megan says, maybe I'm naive, but it doesn't make things more enjoyable for me as a fan when things are so lopsided. I would agree. I don't think it's best for the baseball's product that they allow this kind of difference and disparity. Baseball just has a kind of a state, though, where they don't feel like they care. Like football seems like sometimes it cares too much about what's trendy in the moment and what's to keep things in the, baseball can get to a place of being completely tone deaf. I mean, like the rule changes this year that have significantly helped the game have been long called for, long asked for. And it wasn't until basically the baseball was drug kicking and screaming to make these changes. 1-1 count here for Castillo. Runner gets the lead at first. Right in on the hands. It's a nice pitch, but this is going to be a tough play for Eugenio Suarez. He puts a great effort into it. Bare hands the ball, throws it over there to first, but nothing you can do. Tough luck there for Castillo as well. He makes a great pitch and just in on the hands. That steroid guy for the Rangers got his hands in just enough to pepper it down the line. It's tough. Suarez with a really nice barehanded play there. That's a tough play for a third baseman to make. Big Country Reds losing 8-0 in the second. D-backs might not try as hard now. Damn. Astros just seem like they're kind of getting into that machine-like territory. You know, we talk about different energies. It's like we'll see if they lose tonight. They're just kind of they're kind of rolling as we're rolling, not necessarily, but lukewarm. They're rolling hot. A few more Seahawks, bro. We could have had the dangerous 3. I will never let that go. Oh, with Harden and Durant and Westbrook. Yeah. You shouldn't let it go, man. I'm not a big guy in bitterness or being, in your feelings about stuff for too long and to tend to let stuff go. But when it comes to stealing your franchise, I do think that should be one you let stick in your craw a little bit for a while. 0-2 count here. Bounced down. Steele came awkwardly there on the land a little bit. One and two pitch here. Come on, Castillo. Let's get yourself out of this thing. It's a nice pitch. Hitter didn't take it. Ball. Didn't take the swing. He was trying to get him to go. Baseball and beyond. I'm having a great day, man. It's kind of a nice, mellow fall day. Got a few things done over there for my Hawks channel set up today, and kind of figure I'd enjoy some baseball action with you guys this afternoon. The last little bit of it we're going to get here. Tomorrow being the last game of the year. 3-2 count. Castillo already up to 64 pitches here, and we haven't gotten through the third inning. Let's see if he can get out of trouble. Batted on the ground, up the middle. This is going to be a base hit, and this is going to score one run at least. And indeed it will. Hit hard, right up the middle there. Nothing struck too much there, just to put the head of the bat on the ball and get it right place. Kind of drifted up a bit there in the zone for Castillo. He got that up a little bit too high there. Raleigh's got that glove set up a little bit lower in the zone, and he let it get up just a bit there. One nothing Rangers. 1-0. Josh Young. Steele's not been able to get ahead in the count here to hardly any of these Ranger hitters. Strike. Swung through that one. 1-1. Batted off his instep there, so that'll be foul. 1-2. Hope you're having a good day, Baseball and Beyond. Sean Lee, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. 1-2 count, 2 outs. Rangers up 1-0 on the Mariners. Castillo into his wind. Low. Ball 2. Ball 3 outside. Castillo just cannot get his spots. You can see on the pitch tracker, if you look over my left shoulder here, at where he's kind of missing and then missing up in the zone. What I talk about when I say, I think that there's a bit of fatigue on the starting staff, where I think these guys are, you're trying to push through it. You're trying to get through it. Arm's a little tired. It's been a long season. I need you for another 7 innings of playoff level baseball here without any kind of respite. He does get these guys just a little tired there. And they've done a good job of the Rangers here so far of fouling off some pitches. I mean, or at least just getting the bat on the ball, one way or the other. Outside, and he walks him. So the bases are loaded now. Castillo up to 72 pitches here early on. And Mariner pitching coach is going to come out and have a look. Skylar Thomas, how you doing? Go M's. May says, it's days like this that I hate being writer B. Writer's block is a pain. It is a pain. And a real thing. Real thing. It helps me as I just write on something different than what I'm writing about. So what you got to do is get you started. Just something completely different, fresh page. John Lee says we need some clutch hitting tonight, and Sean Lee is right. You've already got 3 runners left on base here. And we have yet to even get into the bottom of the third. So that would definitely be a spot for improvement here. Jonah Heim up to the plate. Bases loaded. Rangers up 1-0. Jonah first pitch swinging, fouls it back. Six weeks stuck in the same place. That's tough. It's tough. A 1 pitch here by Castillo. Nice pitch. Strike. Heim was looking for a breaking ball, got a fastball, and was just staring at it. John says, hope all is well. All is great, Sean. Here's the M's winning tonight, the Chiastros losing, and the Huskies winning later on tonight. Let's go. Let's go, Sean. So those Chiastros go down hard. Again, Astros hitters here throughout this first couple of innings doing a good job, even when they find themselves with 2 strikes, of just fouling off tough pitches for Castillo, then getting back around to him where he's going to, throw them something with maybe a little bit more of what they can work with, or getting into drawing a walk. But very, very good job and approach here by the Ranger hitters here to start things off. Castillo, another foul ball. Staying alive. Big country, this could be a game where you use Miller for an inning or 2. I could see it, man. I think everything's on the table in this kind of game. I think you gotta put all possibilities out there. And again, just freaking goes down and gets it a pitch that he can barely even hit to, has to go down to his knee just to hit it to Heim. Castillo's just got to be shaking his head here, as throughout this first couple of innings, every one of these Ranger hitters, he gets into a 2-strike count, is just making it hard. He's just making some great pitches. And he's got to just go, man, what do I got to do today here on some of these? 77 pitches now for Castillo in this game. You're maybe going to get one more inning of work out of him at this rate. Ball hit off the end of the bat, base hit up the middle. This is going to score 2 easily. 3-0 Rangers. You can see a different approach here between 2 different lineups, and the Rangers lineup is obviously better and has more hitters in complete total. But you see the thing I rail again and again on in this stadium of an importance of what I put characteristically with the lineup at the head of the lineup. And that is that you have hitters that can get the bat on the baseball, that are not just striking out 24/7 and never even get a chance putting the ball in play. They're on play. You got a guy who swings at that bat, has maybe one hand on the bat, just throws the bat head out at the ball, basically. This ball is going to be sent as a base hit and score another run as well. So this is going to be 4-0 now, Rangers. But he just flicks the bat head out onto it. And it's a ball that's going to be a little rolling ball that would go into right towards where second base would be. Mariners got their alignment in a different way, so they don't have the guy right there. Goes out for a base hit. If you have a strikeout heavy lineup that just constantly every guy coming up is going to be a strikeout machine waiting to happen, you don't get a lot of those kind of hits. And in this stadium, you've got to have that kind of manufactured production. The Rangers are showing it to you. It also shows up in fouling these pitches off. All these little hard pitches that Castillo has made, this guy who is as good as you'll find in the American League, at getting hitters to swing and miss. And instead of getting the swing and miss, they find a way, because they're not swinging from their heels, trying to knock every ball into the second deck. They're knocking those balls that get foul off. Let me wait till I can get to a pitch I can work with and do something with. And they're showing you a bit of the difference of approaches here. And you're looking for things to get corrected or not corrected, but where Mariners can find a place of improvement, you got to look to try to construct more of a lineup that's built like that. You got just too many guys that can't consistently, if they need to, get contact on the baseball bat. Four nothing Texas Rangers here in the top of the third. One count here to Carter. He says, screw this, might go watch the shark movie instead. I wouldn't blame you, Megan. I wouldn't blame you. 1-1 count here. Castillo outside, ball 1-2. Babes, Castillo just hasn't had the last two starts. No, he just hasn't. I mean, he's got 4 walks in this game through not even completed 3 innings. He doesn't have his control or his command, and that's usually something that's he's not, he's not George Kirby pinpoint, but because he has that stuff that he doesn't have to be normally, but he's usually closer than this 5, 6, 7 inches off the plate stuff that you're seeing consistently on a lot of these pitches over the last couple of starts, especially. That's where, again, I do come back and think that's a fatigue thing for him at this point as much as anything else. Beep says the good thing is Texas is on a bullpen day today. Well, that is good. Mariner offense is going to have to find some runs here. And maybe fast. Another 3-2 count here for Castillo. And another walk for Castillo. His 5th walk in 3 innings. And at this point, Service is going to go ahead and make the call of the bullpen. I think you just got to at this point. Unfortunately, your guy just didn't have it for you. He knows it. Castillo gave us a hell of a year this year. You feel great about still, I think, that contract. You feel great about what he's provided. I think the team in a lot of ways here has just kind of run out of gas at the end of things, and this is one of the examples of that. He's not a guy that we've watched this guy over the now year and a half or whatever, and he's not a guy giving you 5 walks through 3 innings. Something's up if that's the case. And that's where I come back to it being really more of a fatigue issue than anything else there at that point with your staff. 162 games is a long year. It's a long year. And having an opportunity to sprinkle in a couple of times where you can feel like you can give that guy an extra bit of rest is not the worst thing to have as a plan going forward. Sean Lay says, bring in Moyer. Yeah, let's get Jamie Moyer, man. He could eat a couple innings up. I bet he could pull that off. I'll be right back. All right, it's Matt Brash time. Louis, if you could do me a favor, because I was trying to expand a little bit and getting through kind of the details of why I like when you say improving series win. How does a team go about improving series win? I mean, giving him. I don't know if we're in agreement on that, or you're in a different place than I am on that. On what you're saying, I'm a little bit unsure. I'm sorry, man. Um, I saying us the team needs to win more series at the end of the year is kind of like saying a team just needs to win more, right? It's doesn't really instruct, it doesn't inform you much on what the team needs to do in order to make that happen. It's not that it's not wrong. It's not that it's not correct, but it's not really telling us anything in saying that. If I was to say the same thing, Mariners need to win more games than they lose next season. Well, okay, but how do they get to that point? I don't know the series thing, man. I'm not quite getting that. Diving stop here by Dylan Moore will prevent this game from potentially getting out of hand, and he makes a great diving catch for out number 3. And Big Country says Castillo's follow through is a bit janky from what I see. Yeah, it didn't look like he was landing under control, and he kept looking down when he was landing. I don't know, maybe there is something physically there going on with him. Potentially. So thank goodness for Moore there. Boy, that ball lands in there. That's another 2 runs. That wouldn't be good. William Leonard says, well, let's see if we still have some soda mojo. What's up, Brando? What's up, William? Well, they've done this to us before this season, even, right? Or we've thought they were done and you're finished and through, but then they find some way, somehow or another here at some point, turn around as they did in that August that they had, and September looked at little bits of points like we might be okay. Well, it was a good run, but they've definitely pittered out now, but they found their footing. Maybe one more, like, even a second wind here. Let's see if we got a third wind here that'll come up in this game, even down now 4-0. Everything on the line. See if they can pull this off. Definitely going to need to start chipping away. Louis says, I feel like we got to make moves, get a bat or two, an MVP type hitter like Harper or Judge or Trout, plus an all-star player. This will push us over $200 million. I'm with you on that, Louis. I think that's well said on your part with it. I can totally get with that on the, making a big time move, trying to go get something that's a bigger splash than not. I would like to see that as well. And I think you're right. It's not just one, but you're going to need to make multiple here with the way this lineup's set up right now. You can't just sit back and hope the farm system's going to make it right, or that, you're going to get a young hitter coming up that's going to do what Julio's done. If that happens, that's got to be, to me, considered a bonus at this point with how many issues we've had through this lineup going on a couple of years now. Crawford up the plate, 1-1 count. He'll take strike 2, 1-2. Amazing, I just worked out why I'm a little stuck and trying to base the character on you. Oh my goodness, Megan, Jesus. Make me blush over here. Make me blush. Well, it does happen at times. Skyler says, no shade to Luis Castillo, but what's the probability Kirby gets the nod for next season's opening day start? I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll give it to Castillo. He's the guy that's paid. He's, I think that the thing you got to think about that too is that's something that does come up in contract time. Skyler is, when George wants to be paid, he goes, well, you have me as the opening day starter over this guy's making such and such money. So I'm way better than him, right? And inflation and all that. Julio first pitch swinging here. We're going to get out number 2 here in the bottom of the third inning. And Louis, we need those kind of players. And will they pay? I don't know if they will or they won't. I will tell you this, I'm not going to go through and stream a whole bunch of games next year of Mariner action. If it's a matter of they go into this off season and do another one of these, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to be patient with our approach thing. Like maybe 2029 will eventually be ready to actually, go out there and be contenders. 0-1 count here. Eugenio Suarez up the dish. Ball 1. But we'll see, man. I don't know if they will or they won't. I'm hoping that they finally realize we got to do this. I've been okay with their patient approach up until this point, but I will be very strongly not okay with it if it's going to continue in this off season. It's true, B, trying to work out the bad parts of the character being a fit while laughing out loud. I'm sure there's a few in there you'll find. If you give it some thought. Definitely temper. Definitely a little temper. You got to put that in there. Louis need an MVP type player plus an all-star, but will they pay? Yeah. Will they pay? And Eugenio is going to look at a breaking ball for strike 3. Mariners go down softly, quietly, quickly, without so much as more than a whimper. 1, 2, 3. Into the top of the 4th we go. Mid-second between the Houston Astros and the Arizona Diamondbacks. 0-0. John Lee says Chandler Jones released by the Raiders. Yeah, I had somebody comment on one of my videos saying that had happened. They're like, sign him? I'm like, did you want sign him? Mm-mm. Did you watch the video there? Did you guys see that video? Like, and I hear he's like, allegedly stuff. It just, yeah, it's a little bit weird there with him. And he's had stuff in the past that's been a little bit strange, Both he and his brother seem like they're kind of wired differently, uniquely. Like, didn't he once OD on synthetic pot or something at one point? Forget what it was when he was back in New England. Louis like Otani, but they'll do $500 million. I think they should do Otani. I think the costs of Otani are great, but they are mitigated at least a little bit by the ticket sales you'd increase by bringing them in. But will they, won't they? I don't know on that. They should. They damn well should. By the way, May says, "Oh, by the way, I'd be the character's assistant hockey coach. Know how much you love hockey. Of course, you've faced a character on me as a hockey coach. Of course." Secretly, he bases all of his strategy on hockey through his football knowledge. Y2K, T.O. is the second best hitter in the market in free agency. Probably. There's usually not a lot of great free agent hitters that are out there. I also think that this needs to be probably done in a way where you're going to have to do this through a trade. You're going to have to sacrifice some of that future for the now. And that's just what we're going to have to do. And what that probably means is you bring on a hitter, still a good hitter, that costs a good amount of money, and you're having to get up a young arm or bat to do that. But I think that is a price the team has to be willing to pay at this point if there isn't that guy in free agency. And why I also think it's not the worst idea to double back around Teoscar if you can't get Otani either. Because at least in that case, even though he's not necessarily ideal for me, he does help, and you can bump up other spots in this lineup that are in more dire need probably compared to what at least he probably gives you. 2-0, swing and a miss, 2-1. Teoscar is definitely not ideal though for me. I'd like to get a little bit better outfield defense out there. Seager continues his brother's revenge tour with us this year, hitting .444. Looks like Teoscar's got a glove malfunction they're going to fix here. Luis says, I would go for Otani, then call for Juan Soto, plus bring T.O. back. This is what I mean by making moves to win the series. Oh, you mean win the series? I think you were saying win more series at the end. That's where I'm misunderstanding you, Louis. I thought you were saying like we need to win more series at the end of the year. You're meaning win the World Series. Yes. Yeah. I hope you understand that. That's why that confused me just a little bit. I was like, win series at the end. What do you mean by series? Other series at the end of the season? But no, yeah, I would definitely go. Soto would be a move I'd look. You'd have to think the Padres might be looking at that situation with all those go for it moves they did and all the money that they're spending and saying, okay, this approach didn't work. Let's take a little bit of a different track with this. And Juan Soto would be a guy that I definitely would be taking a look at for sure. I would kick the tires on that all day. Otani would be my first, Louis. I think that they should make a big push for Otani, do what they can there. Another great job of hitting here. Seager beats the shift by the Mariners. They've got their third baseman out there at shortstop. He just puts a good inside-out stroke here to send the ball to the left side where there isn't a guy on the ground. Not really hard hit. Just hit him where there aren't. Hit him where there ain't. You can see him keep his front shoulder in here. Really long on that baseball. That's how you can kind of tell. And if you see his shoulders the way that they're driving, you can tell that he's trying to push that ball to the left-hand side like that. Nobody out now. All 0-1 here to Robbie Grossman, 1 for 2. Ethan says also really lucky with all the foul balls not being pop-outs. It's kind of luck. I mean, it's also that this is the back control stuff I knock on, Ethan. You know, when I tell you back control, that's back control. Back control, I swing at a pitch, and rather than missing that pitch by 3 inches, I actually end up getting some kind of contact on the pitch. And, you know, we get used to a lineup that has a lot of guys that just whiff on those kind of pitches to where they don't foul it off. And that's, you know, to me, a little bit of just a difference we see between lineups here. I look at it more skill on that, though. Big Country says, yeah, credit to the Rangers for also having good play discipline too, I guess. Yeah, definitely so. You got 5 walks in this game, you know, you got 1. Obviously, Castillo giving more opportunities to them because he's a little bit wilder than Haney's been today. But the combination of those two factors, when you bring them into play from a batting angle of things, being bat control and plate discipline, it's those things two will work together to make you a better hitter. But they're not easily tangible things for the average fan to see because you can't measure them with a metric or a statistic. It's something you can just kind of see as a part of your lineup or not. And it's something you can see with our lineup that's just missing by leaps and bounds. Ethan says, was Castillo tipping off speed somehow? They were remarkably not chasing anything. He was missing way outside the zone in my eyes, Ethan. There was less of him dancing around the black and more of him running away from the black of the plate. And he just, to me, looked, I think, in my opinion, fatigued. Big Country was mentioning a little bit about not looking consistent on his landing zone as a pitcher, and I would say that that's true. He looked uncomfortable in his landing a couple of times. This ball is popped up to Eugenio Suarez on a 3-2 count. It feels like the 15th 3-2 count for the Rangers here in this game. And that will bring one out now with runner on first. But I think it's just to me, it was more Ethan, he's just tired. Louis says, I did mean for regular season this, so we win the division, but I don't know if they'd be willing to go 500 for Ohtani. Maybe not, Louis. They may not. I feel like it basically guarantees them a sellout every day of their. I know they already have good. We're going to be at like $2.7 million as far as the 2.7 million people for attendance this year, which is really good. But that would guarantee a sellout. You could raise ticket prices if you wanted to, and people will pay it. So I don't know how much that might offset it a little bit, Louis, on paying that much for him. But I think it would mean at least over the course of a contract. We're talking $500 million, and this is going to be a wild pitch by Brash, which will send the runner to second and remove the double play possibility. I would think that would be worth, at least over the course of the contract, Louis, $50 million, $75 million. Could be wrong on that, but it would be worth something. Thomas Castillo's a sellout. He loses big games all the time. He costs me all the time. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by sellout, Thomas. Might have to elaborate a little bit on that. I'm sorry he costs you all the time. I don't know what you mean by cost you all the time unless you're gambling on him. And if you're going to gamble, you gotta know that's on you, brother. You're going to dictate whether that, is a good bet or not bet. And if you've been watching Castillo recently, then you would probably not be trying to bet on him starting because he's not been the most consistent guy and for a while. It's been more about consistency than losing in big games. Comes down to Thomas a little bit trying to talk about this. And I know that there's a draw in sports at times, Thomas, but let's get to a simplified place on things. But like, you want to get to a 6-man rotation in September. Scott Service said that. Hancock went down to the Tommy John surgery. You had to stay with the 5-man rotations. At no point during this year could you provide a guy like Castillo any kind of real rest through the rotation. Start after start after start after start, you're pumping him out there. And if you're going to be a team getting down the stretch like this, and you got to play in these big important games like this, and you need these wins like this at the end of the season like this, then you got to have your guys in somewhat of a fresh state, or else they're going to be kind of tapped out. They might be out there in spirit. They might give you some flashes of what they are when they're running strong, but that's kind of what brought us here. And I don't think that those things, Thomas, are anything to him being a sellout by that being that way. One count here for Brash. One man down, runner on first. Tough ball game to start out here for our Mariners. Down 4-0 here in the top of the 4th inning. Strike. There we go. 1-2. One and two pitcher by Brash. Breaking ball, strike 3. 2 men down. Nice pitch by Brash. A lot of movement on that slider. Sours has been a fun season. Cool to get a little fun last night before the end. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We got a little bit of time left here. It ain't over yet. Young up to the plate here for the Rangers. First pitch swinging right through it. Strike 2. Brash tugs on his cap. Twists the ball in his hand. Looks down for the sign. Runners get their lead. High. Ball 1. I was at a pizza place watching the game with the family. I lost my stuff when JP hit the grand slam. My wife got embarrassed. She married a sports fan, Sour Vanilla. She knows what she signed up for. Brash is going to hit the Ranger hitter in the arm. And Service can't believe that he didn't call him. This is where, as a manager, I would be so much more. This is where I'd be angry on that. I'd be like, he swung at the pitch. Maybe pulled back on it. He fouled it, didn't he? It looked like he fouled it. It might have gone off his hand, but it looked like it went off the bat as well. Bases loaded now here for Brash. Jonah Heim up to the plate. Want to know? Two and 0. Arabella, the Stros need to lose their remaining games too, right? I think they just have to lose one. I believe. There's like a weird filter they just put over the telecast. So I got smoky on the field or something all of a sudden. Sarah Vanilla Scott's way too mellow. I don't know. Maybe it's just the times, but they'd be singing Kumbaya a little too much, I think. Yeah, me too. I think so as well. It's a little bit less. I never sense there's never a sense of, and I know it's baseball, but I just don't ever get any kind of sense of urgency from him ever. You know? And he always just seems kind of like, why didn't you do that? You should do that. And Brash is going to walk home a guy because why not? Service going to come out, go to the bullpen, get the lefty Greg Spire after the Mariners' 5th walk, because this is a Ranger lineup that, you know, you can give them free passes. They're not going to hurt you. You know what I mean? Who needs to throw a strike, right? Yeah, Lou Piniella is in dire need on this type of team. He would be the perfect coach for this team, in my opinion. That would be. I definitely miss him versus what I get from Service. And Service has got his people to back him. I'm not sitting here calling for his job. He just doesn't impress me much as a manager. I don't know what exactly it is he brings to the table. I'm not a fan of his lineup construction, not a fan of the fact that you have hitters in this lineup for now a year and a half who've had the same issue that you haven't even somewhat seemingly worked to correct at all with them. Like, where is them even working on it, much less seeing the results of it? His bullpen usage is odd as hell. And even a moment like that on a check swing where he just kind of, oh, you're just going to give him the thing. Like, Piniella would have been chewing that guy's ear off for the next inning and a half. I mean, if anything, sometimes just to get the energy of his ball club up, Sean Lee, I believe I read that Jalen Carter leads all defensive tackles in quarterback pressures. I think that's probably right. He's been a monster with it, man. He's not in on rundowns, so let's also remember that, Sean, is he's being just kind of sent out fresh to play the passing downs. But he's been good at it. Why not? Hilarious. Jared Jesus, it's time for football. we might make this a college football broadcast yet here today before this game's over with. Just my opinion, my soul, my poor soul. I'm feeling you, man. I'm feeling you with it. I feel you. That's all I can say, just my opinion. My sympathies are with you. My empathy is there. Part of the downside of these guys that all about their velocity and like I'm going to throw it as hard as I possibly can every single time is like some of them just do not have an ability to control where that thing's going. It leaves their hands and it's like, maybe it'll be near the plate. And it's like, well, okay, but it explodes. Yeah, but you don't know where it's going. Yeah, I know, but look at the movement with the explosion. Yeah, but you don't know where it's going. Yeah, but look at how much movement. All right, so we get Greg Spire out now. He'll get a swing and a miss. 0-1 here to Tavares. Just my opinion, keeping hope still. I am too. It's a little frustrating to begin things here. Wee bit. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Ethan says if Bryce Harper becomes a manager, he has the potential to be the most entertaining manager of all time. Yeah, he would probably be. He probably would be. There'd be a number of meltdowns, I'm sure, over the course of a season with Bryce. Maybe I'm flicking between baseball and cricket. It's not the worst idea. I might be going to cricket here. 5 Rangers, 1-2, bases loaded, 2 men down. Spire getting the sign. Can he keep this team under wraps, under control? Swing and a miss, and indeed he can for strike 3. Mariners retire the side. I think, and I might just do the whole next inning in Howard Cosell voice. Just for the hell of it. We'll be back in a second. Big Country really need the offense to not press here. Base runners, Big Country. I think to your point, let's not get some wild swings and misses here. Let's try to take our pitches. Let's try to stay within the zone here. Cal Raleigh being a good guy here to begin things here and taking a look at just on that approach. He can get a little wild swinging here. Let's make Haney find the plate here for you, Cal. Cal gets right on top of this pitch and gets a little bit underneath it. And this will be out number 1. I think he had a pitch that he liked and just got a smidge underneath it on that one. That's right, just my opinion. Walks and hits right now. We just got to start chipping away at this thing. We don't get it all in one stroke. Just chip, 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 chipperoo. We need to chip and dale this sucker. Why not? It's a brutal curveball there by Haney. He 12-6 the outside corner of the plate there. 0-1. There's nothing anybody's going to do with that pitch. That used to be, I was a lefty too. That used to be my special. That's such a hard pitch for a righty to deal with. Swing and a miss. 0-2 here for Teoscar Hernandez. Maybe we get ESPN cable. I usually just listen through B or the. Louis says they won't go for MVP type player. We're cursed. No World Series appearances. We may very well be, Louis. I don't know if it's cursed or it's just we're not going to have an ownership group that's willing, like you say, to make the move. Inside 1-2. You know, I mean, that's really where this could be too, is that you just don't have the setting for what's required to make this happen. And the hope is that it all has to come from within house and your development. And I just think that that's not going to work. This ball is hit out into right field. He is underneath it as that right fielder, and he will catch it. Out number 2. Middle of the third right now between the Houston Astros and the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's currently 0-0. Dylan Moore steps up to the plate. Mariners decide to hand Dylan Moore, I believe, a 2-year extension this offseason. Thinking, man, he's ready to pop. He's ready to pop. This guy's going to be worth it. Dylan hitting .210 on the year. 0-1. Oh and 2 on a miserable call by the umpire. 1-2. Ooh, looks like he almost hit him there, but did not. So 2-2. Louis, 210, not good. Yeah, it's just we're at this point in the season. We're playing for something so important. We're trotting out a guy here hitting 210 this year. As you got a lineup of other guys that you're trotting out at the same time hitting 231. Ball's hit on the line. Left fielder tracks it down, makes the catch. And that's the part that's the part that makes it brutal here. Is it's like he's now down to 208, by the way, after that. But you got a 208 hitter, you got a 249 hitter, you got a 250 hitter, a 247 hitter, a 234 hitter, a 231 hitter. And if you go over to the Astros side of it, you know, the lowest hitter that they have in their lineup's hitting 245. But what's hilarious about that, if you really want to go even further with this, is that the Rangers hitter in their lineup who's hitting the lowest versus your guys I just all listed, that guy hitting 245, his OPS on the season is higher than anybody else in your lineup. If we're looking for like a difference, like if you need any more like clear, stark understanding of why it is we can't produce runs or score runs or what's not good enough on this team, like that's it right there. Their worst hitter in their lineup still beats your best hitter as far as OPS goes. What are we in here? We're going to the bottom of the top of the top of the fifth here. Rangers 5 runs on 6 hits, no errors. Seattle Mariners 0 runs, 2 hits, no errors. Spire back out on the hill here for the Mariners. Strike 1. Strike 1. Evan Carter up to the plate here for the Rangers. 9-hole hitter. Strike 2. Low and away. 1 and 2. Two and 2. Spire shakes off Raleigh. Gets the pitch he wants. Oh, he gets a swing and a miss. That must have been the money one there. Nice pitch there by Spires. Second strikeout. He's been very good here since coming on. Bueno here, Marcus Semien. Ball's hit up into the air. Haggerty underneath it. And he'll make the catch. Two men down. Corey Seager up to the plate. 1 for 3 in this game. just about did the same thing he did last time, which is just knock it down the left-hand fine. So you can hopefully, if you thought before when I told you that he was doing that on purpose, you can now know for sure that he's doing that on purpose. He's beating the shift. He's hitting them where they aren't. And this is bat control here you're getting to see from Seager that he's applying right here, which is kind of ironic because his brother had none of it. Strike. 0-2. The Mariners sold their farm for a guy who lasted 1 year and got them a wild card win. Castillo already regressing big time. Yeah, Greg, I guess, Greg, do you feel like maybe there's any of this is a bit of the fatigue factor coming into play? Maybe a little bit of that. The Mariners planned on doing a 6-man rotation in September. They didn't have an ability with the injuries that they had in the rotation. Swing and a miss by Spires that will retire the side. And Greg Spire, great job this coming in this game, doing just a hell of a good work. But do you think that might have a little bit of an effect on this too, there, as you mentioned, regression, where he's having some of these struggles at this point, like we're seeing from a lot of our Mariner pitching staff, Greg, because he's not the only one. A lot of this Mariner pitching staff is not pitching at its best down the stretch, certainly from how they pitched earlier in the year. I think that does point to a little bit of fatigue being a factor. At the end of the day, Castillo gave you a 3.34 ERA. He got darn near close to 200 innings pitched. He's still missing bats at a really high rate. I think that he's delivering on what you hoped he would bring. Would it be nice if down the stretch he could pitch better in crunch time and get you some better production down here? Yeah. But I don't know if I go to that of him now regressing to a player who's not any good anymore as a pitcher, but more to, that factor I just told you about, as evidenced by the fact a lot of the Mariner pitching in the staff were having that same sort of issue, where some of them have been able to turn in good starts, and we're seeing a lot of inconsistency, and it seems like just there's a bit of that fatigue coming into play. I could be wrong on it, but that's just sort of my, my take on it. Steele, Brandon, I think your streams are cursed. It might be, man. Every time we can't ever seem to score a run when I do a stream now. So I might not ever stream again here because every time I do, the Mariners are unable to score. Castillo was good this year, and they didn't give him that much. Stop talking to him. Yeah, I just feel like he has been pretty good this year at the end of the day. They were showing stats that Greg, he's like fourth in the league and fourth American League in ERA and like fifth in innings pitched. And I mean, tough start today, but I don't think over the course of the season, if we're looking to pinpoint the issues and problems, I don't know if Castillo would be a guy that I would go to at all compared to some of the other things we had happen. Okay, so the Mariners are going to send up the torrid hitters of their lineup, France, Rojas, and Haggerty. So these guys can set the stage for the big dogs at the top of the lineup. That's what we need. These guys to set the stage for the top of the lineup. Haney still back out up on the bump here to start things off in the top of the 5th inning. Ty France up to the plate. Ready to roll. Bottom of the 3rd between Houston and Arizona. 2 outs. 0-0 remains the score there. Haney with 4 innings of work here. 2 hits given up. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. No runs. Here we go. Ty popped out on a first pitch. Last at bat. Takes this first pitch fastball for a strike. He wanted to get a little bit in this. He wanted to do two at bats back to back with first pitch swings. 0-1 count here. Ball. I thought the umpire was going to call that a strike for about half a second there. It's going to make me nervous. France hits this the other way for a base hit. That's what I'm talking about. There's a little vintage France for you. Headed the bat on the ball. Good things happen. Runner on first. Here we go. The Great Mariner Rally begins now. Starts here. Here and now. Josh Rojas, 1 for 1 in this game. And it's getting kind of cold here. Woo. Strike. Outside. Ball 1. 75 pitches for the game for Haney. Mariners looking to get a couple runners on this inning. Set the stage out for the top of that lineup. Rojas fouls us off. 1-2. Spores. Is warming up in the pen for the Rangers. 1-2 pitch here. Ooh, almost hit him. 2-2. Ooh. Buzzed his cheek with that one. 2-2 count. Hi, good eye there by Rojas. That was close. 3-2. 3-2. This is where you like to do a little bit what they did to us. You know, knock a couple foul balls, stay alive. If he gives you some tough pitches, drive it if he grooves one. 3-2 count. And he gave him a pitch, but he got a little bit underneath it. And this will be a fly out to center field for 1 man down. Sam Haggerty up to the plate now. 1 man down, runner on first. Mariners down 5-0 here. Bottom of the 5th inning. Haggerty 0 for 1 with a fly out in the second. Two 2-0 here. Strike. High strike there. Craig says one day maybe my grandkids can see the Mariners win a World Series. One can hope, maybe. That might be a little aggressive at this point, Craig. 2-1. Hit on the ground, base hit out into left field by Sam Haggerty. There we go. Sam drips so hard. Haggerty, yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 men down. 1 man down. J.P. Crawford to the plate. It's time for a J.P. bomb, I say. Bring this game right back. J.P. 1 for 2. Hitting .267 on the year here. 19 home runs. Making a nice round 2-0. Lefty on lefty. High. Ball 1. JP gets a pitch he can hit, and he just gets underneath it, and he knows it. It still drops in. JP frustrated with himself, bashed the bat into the ground before he even started running to first. And the ball just found this dead zone out there. The Rangers... He's frustrated himself because he got a pitch he could hit. And then when he realized, it took him a little while to kind of realize that the ball might actually land in. He was so sure that they were going to make the catch. Rangers right fielder was playing it just a little bit too deep there. Garcia there. Topples over the top. Rangers will go ahead and make a pitching change here. So Haney's day will be done now with the bases loaded. And the Mariners making a little bit of noise. Making just a little bit of noise. Be heading out to work on the character I mentioned earlier. May not be on the stream for tomorrow, but we'll see you for game day. Sounds good, Megan. Thank you so much. Give him a good arc. That's all I ask. Give him a good arc. Tasby, Hockenberry, JP. Let's go. Big J. The country Julio needs the big hit. It's on Julio now. He had this moment we saw about a week ago, right? Where you really had him there to set the stage in this kind of same sort of moment where, all right, you got the opportunity now, Julio. Come on. I know we're asking a lot of you, kid. He's been a little bit cool, a little ice cold lately. Need him to come up here, start bringing this game back around. Start giving ourselves a chance. Sporgs. I'm talking about Sporgs. I don't even know how to pronounce that name. Oof. Alrighty. Fans are up on their feet. Julio Rodriguez, the J-Rod Show, steps up to the plate. What do we got? What do we got? Will the Mariners go quietly into that good night? Would they find an answer here and now? Ball one low. Josh Borgs, 43 games, 5-7 on the year, 5.68 ERA. Julio, ready at the dish. Julio gets up underneath this one, sends it into left field. And that will be out number 2. France not fast enough with that short of a fly out to get in from third base. So Julio struggles up at the dish. Do continue. Swung at a pitch that was probably ball 2. Just being a little too anxious up there on that pitch. Two men out. High ball one. And yes, so the Astros are up 1-0 now. And that game in Arizona. 1-0 count to Eugenio. Eugenio bats this on the third base side. Third baseman's up with it. He'll throw him out over at first base. And the Mariners will go down with no runs. Not even with a little bit of a chip at the run. Not even a little bit of a dent made there with the bases loaded and 1 out. The offense has been tough. Big Country says, boo. I had to take advantage there. Most likely over. It's my feeling as well, Big Country. You got to get a couple of runs there. But not altogether shocking when it comes to this offense. We've been in this situation many times throughout this year with plenty of guys up at the plate, and you just can't you can't seem to find that answer of a way of bringing them in, of getting that clutch hit. You got the Mariners already in this game once again back with that 1 for 4 with 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Six base runners left on base here through 5 innings. So you got more than a base runner an inning you leave on base on average right now. Beebs, we need to at least chip the lead. Yeah, we needed to, man. They're giving up bases loaded. This team can't string hits together. Just can't. They can't find the answer out there on it, can they? Frustrating as hell, but it's the truth. Keep looking for them to find that answer with it, but there's just nothing happening. Just can't locate it. Classic Mariners, says Tasby. Yep. Top of the order, bases loaded, 1 out, 0 runs. Classic. I mean, is it not the truth? How many times have we seen them in this situation? Just can't even get 1 run carved out. They make scoring runs seem like it is the toughest thing in sports to do. And if we don't hit a home run, then we're just SOL. And you go, New pitcher here for the Mariners. Bizzardo is out. Ready to let it rip. Beebs says, now we just hope the Astros lose back-to-back and win three out of three, 4. There we go. Can we lose our way into the playoffs? Is there a way we can do that? Is that a possible pathway? What is the how does that have to work for us to make that happen? 2-2 count from Bizzardo. Couple outs here quickly for the Rangers. But it catches pretty much, I wish. Joe, it ain't over yet. That's true. Bizzardo set up with a 3-2 count here to Nathaniel Lowe. Swing and a miss. Nice pitch by Bizzardo. Came in and did his job here for sure. Quick inning of work. Quick strikeout. Get that lineup back. Get that hot lineup turned right back around. Get it back up the dish here. Let's go. Mariners will go now here into the bottom of the 6th. Down 5-0. 4 more chances. 4 more shots. Beeb says M's have always had the pitching and then never the offense. Sometimes I wish it was the other way around. Yeah, me too, Beebs. When we were bad in the early 90s and you had the offense with Edgar, Jay, Tino Martinez, Griffey, and you kind of kept the offense good throughout the course of that time for a good few year period there. It was a lot funner to watch than these games where you just go no runs through 9 innings and you just look kind of helpless with the baseball bat in your hand. You look like a baby with a baseball bat in your hand. Michael Myers, see y'all next year. See you next year, Mike. Woo! Let's go. Big Country, it was like that in 2018. Also, 90s was mostly offense. Yeah, exactly. 90s was definitely like that. Cal Raleigh, first pitch swinging because that's what the Mariners do. That's what we do. We're down by 5 runs. Let's first pitch swing. And we got 1 man down now. Quickly here, bottom of the 6th inning. Teoscar Hernandez steps up to the plate, takes the first pitch, breaking ball strike, and this Rangers pitching staff is feeling good in this game right now. They're flowing. They're using the force. Their auras are all purple all along the line, and you can just feel dark little clouds on the Mariner hitters right now. 0-2, the count now to Teoscar Hernandez. This ball's batted hard, but right at the second baseman. And that will be out number 2. Jared Kelnick comes up to the plate with 2 men out to pinch hit in this situation for Dylan Moore. Moore managed to get a walk on the day, but other than that was 0 for 1. Pitch is going to be high. Ball 1 here to Mr. Kelnick. Beebs, they heard you, man. They heard you, brother. They brought him in. Right, 1-1. Y2K, Julio's really let us down in the stretch. He's had some big moments where you could have, you'd like him come up the plate with what you got the deck stacked in front of him and couldn't quite answer the bell here. Jared Kelnick smashes this out into right field for a base hit. And with 2 men down, the Mariners are rubbing some sticks together and trying to create some fire. Nice stroke there by Mr. Kelnick. Let us see if the Seattle Mariners here and now can mount their great rally. Caps turn to the side for Mr. France. Steps up to the plate, taking a 1-1. The indubitable one, Mr. Ty France, 1 for 2 in this game with a solid single in his last at-bat. Can he now raise the hopes of this Mariner faithful or do what he has just done? Pitter-pattered the baseball out to right field for a weak, miserable flyout. The Mariners go down, not without a plucky little base hit from Jared Kelnick. But still, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on. The Mariners find themselves down 5-0. Beep says, why not keep the lineup like we had as yesterday? Beebs, they like to play the lefty-righty matchups. I don't think that you're wrong. I'm with you on it. I think that you play the lefty-righty matchup thing in general terms. But when the lefty-righty matchup leads you to take Jared Kelnick out of the lineup in favor of Dylan Moore, I mean, it's like they're waiting on some of these guys to be different hitters than what we see them to be, and they keep and I know there's maybe just no. There in this case there is a better answer. I'm not a big Jared Kelnick guy, but I'm also pretty down with Dylan Moore. What has this guy done to keep earning the shots and tries and shots and tries? And he's a sub 200 hitter in this league at this point in his career. Let's see how many. Let's see how many at bats Dylan Moore's had. His pro career. So, they used to say you need 500 bats to tell you what a major league hitter is. That used to be the whole axiom. You need 500 bats. You need to wait 500 bats to know what it is you're going to get out of a guy. Who is he going to be at the major league level? Don't make any, quick citations. Okay, so this guy's got 1,000 bats. I have double the 500 bats that a normal manager would tell you you'd need to make a determination on a player. He's hitting 208. His batting average right now this year, I'm not kidding you guys on this. His batting average right now, Dylan Moore, at 208, is exactly his career average cumulatively over his 4-year career with 1,000 at bats. He is exactly what he is. But they play the lefty-righty split. And since lefties, pitch better against other lefties. You don't want to put Kelnick out there, so you got to put the righty out there. But the righty sucks. So what sense does it really make there? If the option sucks, it don't make sense. And you're at 208, you're at the place of you suck. Sorry to be mean about it, but that's just what it is there. Bizzardo comes out for another inning of work. He did good last time here, and he's quickly got himself into a 1-2 count. Big Country says maybe next year, man. Big Country, they work, but gotta play the best players down the stretch. That's right. I'm with the lefty righty split thing for the most part. I am, but there are places that you have to apply a little bit more of the subjective application of whether or not it's right or not in that moment. Like for instance, ball's hit deep in the air, but Julio's on it. Like for instance, if you have a hitter that you're looking to replace the lefty with, it's a sub 200 hitter that they call Captain Mendoza. And that's my new nickname for Mr. Moore. You're now going to be known as Captain Mendoza. Beeb says service time has come, and when has the lefty righty matchups ever worked? He does it, and we never win. He always does it. I feel you, man. It doesn't work out well for him, and it's because they're applying it just generally with it. When lefty, righty, who's the lefty you're bringing out of the pen? Well, who's the righty that you have as your hitter? That doesn't seem to matter at all in the the decision to do that or not. It just comes down to left, righty, good, lefty, bad, unless pitching, then good, then yes. All right, we got a bullpen change here for the Mariners. All right, 2-0 count here. Cicito is out now for Bizzardo. 2-1. But Beebs, yeah, we were talking about service a little bit. He's come up a bit on the stream with this. I think I don't think the Mariners are going to make a change. I think it's hard at times to go back and put it on the blame on the manager. Even this, I think what you're saying is right. I think what makes it hard is that you can't make the assessment of the guy if you don't you have a lineup you're not fielding that's just not functional. And that's the problem with it is like both things might be a problem, Beebs, where it's, both the issue is service as a manager and the hitting at the same time. But until you get the hitting corrected, I don't know if they're going to get to a full place of it being on service's dish, nor I don't know if it should be at that point. Because you are trying to like just manufacture, make something work, find some just, some lineup that'll work as an iteration. Every day though that you're trotting out 4 guys that are hitting low 200s, and it's going to impinge a lot of managers, I think. But your criticisms are mine as well when it comes to him a bit on what you see from him with the that lefty righty thing that he leans so heavily into. All right, 3-2 count here. Jonah Heim staying alive. There we go. Strike 3, 2 down. And I'm supposed to have a bit of an appointment here after 7 o'clock, so we might go a little bit past 7 here, but if we're still looking at going into the 9th or something and this team's not mustered a run, I think we'll be good. One count here to Tavares. He's 1 for 2 in this game. Rangers with the same amount of hits as the Mariners, 6. But that's the walks that they've been able to generate in addition to that. 7 walks in this game for the Rangers. Astros are still up 1-0 in the top of the 6th inning to Arizona right now. Not that game matters a whole bunch here, as the Mariners got to get this thing figured out. Two count, 2 men out, nobody on. Saucedo trying to keep this held on. Keep this in shouting distance, within shouting distance. The wide, the delivery, low, 3-2. DJ says Arizona needs to save us. They do. Save us, Arizona. You're our only hope. You, Obi-Wan Phoenix. Ball's hit up into the air. Shortstop J.P. Crawford is underneath it, and he will make the grab. That will retire the side. Great job by these Mariner relievers. Everybody but Brash. You're dead to me. You're dead to me. No, I'm kidding. But Spire, Bizzardo, Saucedo gives you 3 innings of work here collectively, keeping the doors closed. The hatch is shut. There's already some water damage in the room, but they've minimized it as much as they could be asked to. Let's see if they've held this thing on for the big dogs to come hunt. Beebs, the Reds are about to lose the games. The Arizona's about to clinch. So all their backups are going to play game 162. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. I feel like I'm missing the playoffs. Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. The Reds have lost, and so now the Diamondbacks are in. Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. Astros will win. Because the Diamondbacks aren't starting anybody. Another year without the playoffs. On our own. Here we go. Anybody else like that song? Am I the only one on that one? Man, a lot of Danny DeVito in these commercials. Beeb says, I do wonder what's going to happen next year with the pitching rotation with Robbie Ray coming back. Maybe the 6-man rotation will be a thing. Castillo, 2 2/3 innings today, shortest outing of the season. Brutal. Josh Rojas steps up to the plate, takes the first pitch drag. Devo, my eyes feel like they're gonna bleed. Ba-na, ba-na, ba-na. That's probably my favorite Green Day song. I wouldn't be surprised, Beebs, when it comes to Robbie Ray, where once he comes back, he very well could just be a guy that they have as sort of trade bait once he's healthy, and they eat half the salary and, you know, give him away for not much, but free a little bit of salary up by letting him go, and then, you know, maybe getting something tiny back in return that could be interesting down the road a bit. I don't think he'll fit into the rotation when it's all said and done. I also have heard, though, I don't think he comes back until like July. So it's also something that you have as a sort of thing to deal with until a bit down the road with that. Honey says they lose. Who loses? Who loses? Three-two count here to Rojas. He's trying to get on here. 1 for 2 in this game. Here's the pitch. Rojas fights it off. He says, not yet today. The pitch, the wind, the delivery. Fouls it off again. Fighting. 3-2. Bouncing ball to the first baseman. He is up with it and quickly covers over to the bag. And that will be out number 1. Beebs, ever since Toronto come back in wild card, I always still have hope they win. I got hope, man. I got hope too. It's slipping. It's slipping fast. But it's there. It's there. Swag Haggerty coming off a base hit in his last at bat. Comes up to the plate and takes 0-1. Leclerc warming up in the bullpen for the Rangers. Haggerty, strange little weird swing and miss there. 0-2. He just kind of waved at it. 0-2 count here to Haggerty. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Daniel says, "Oh wow, just coming back after taking a nap. Looks like the season's over." Yeah, I'm giving this legit about another inning, and I'm gonna give it a call it a day here. If this team can't look like they're even gonna mount a fight, we're not even mounting a fight right now. We're I don't know what we're doing. To be honest with you, like we're just. The NWB says the Mariners don't spend in the offseason. Do you kind of start to lose faith in the team if they're just content being this high money making team but no real push? Yeah. I mean, I'll put it kind of as plainly as I could put it, Daniel. You know, doing these kind of streams and doing Mariner content, which I like doing, and I would like to talk about this team. You know, it comes at the cost of me of doing more Seahawk content. Because any minute I'm doing live stream of this could be a minute I'm editing a video for that side of it in that channel. And this channel's not monetized, which I'm okay with. It'll take its time. I'm good with that. But I can't put my time on something myself with if it's just a matter of there's not going to be interest in this team. And I'll tell you what, there's a stark difference between the interest of Seahawks fans and live stream shows and that stuff than Mariner fans. And I think some of that is because the fan base, though it's still very loyal and they'll fill up a stadium, there's a part of the fan base, I think, an important part of it that, you know, feels like the team might be doing a little bit of that here, Daniel. And I think that they have a bit of a case to be made here. And so, yeah, if we go through an offseason and I'm seeing the team doing more of what they did last offseason, if I see the same kind of moves that they did last offseason, then I'm certainly not going to have faith that this is a team that's ready to go. I'm not a big it's all got to come from the farm system kind of guy. I don't buy into that. I think that that's what owners would love you to believe. And general managers would probably have you love to believe it because then they don't have to take any risks on any players in the open market. Well, you don't want to take risks on those players because, you know, it never works out for you when you do that. I mean, it just doesn't ever bring the return. So, you know, you know, makes it easier for their decision making. It's just all about then the drafting and development at that point, I guess, right? And trades. But even if it's a matter of just bringing the money on by a trade, yeah, they need to do it. 0-2 count here to Crawford. Big Country says 100%. It's this offseason or not at all. And you can attest, Big Country, I've been an impatient guy. I'm not your Mr. Impatient Mariner fan. I wasn't impatient at the deadline. I wasn't impatient last offseason. I was impatient the year before that at the end of the lockout, whatever the hell that was. And that's a pop out by Crawford. That'll be out number 3. I've not been an impatient guy when it comes to this. I've understood the process. But there's a time to sit, and there's a time to stand, and there's a time to run. This offseason is now a time to run for this Mariner franchise. Otherwise, it is signaling to this fan base that it's perfectly happy to try to have the stadium, the team be just good enough to fill up that stadium to 3 million people every year. That's the goal then. And I would be very disappointed if they go that. But if it is, I'm going to call it as that. And ownership can do with that what they will, I suppose, right? Abuse says, I wonder what big free agent hitters there are this offseason. I'll do a bit of a video drop, deep dive on it. I think it's going to be more likely they got to get this done by a trade. And that there's not really going to just be the hitters in the open market. They're going to have to take it on by a contract. They're going to have to give up a prospect. So it's more along, I think, those lines to me. Oh, He says downfall started when we sent Marlowe back to AAA. Yeah. Okay. Top of the 8th inning, Mariners down 5-0. They got Anthony Munoz out here to come out now. Their closer. And I'm going to go for a few more minutes here. I don't think we're probably pulling this game out. I got hope, but I set up a prior commitment at 7 o'clock today that was not thinking we're going to be streaming. I did it anyway, just hoping. And I don't know, maybe I've been bad luck. Maybe I got to stop streaming, then I'll start scoring runs because they seem to do better when I'm not streaming. They seem to do pretty good. But tough make or break it kind of game here. Z says, Rangers completely changed my mind this year on whether or not spending the big money is worth it. They turned around quickly and will make the playoffs while the M's are on the sideline. I think that it certainly is an example of how it can work if you spend your money right. See? Yeah, you're right. And, it's very hard for me not to come down to some very, very bottom line things when you look at this team and we talk about why can't they compete? Why aren't we talking about this team as a World Series contender? Your payroll's at $130 million. This Ranger team, well over $200 million. The Blue Jay team, over $200 million. The Astro team, over $200 million. Is it coincidence that the three teams up ahead of us are spending significantly more money than we are? And so it comes down to starting to feel like, well, we're that old adage that we've been for many years before. That small market team that just doesn't generate. Oh, I know. We're the most profitable team in baseball. Yeah, we get that. We get that. But we just don't have any money. They keep pulling their pockets out and turning them upside down. Oh, you guys stack the stadium every year, $3 million, whether we win or not. $3 million we can count on here. We don't have any money. We don't know. It's just I don't know what it is. It's inflation. It's weird. It's just wild. Just don't have the money to spend. And I understand that free agency in recent years hasn't always been the best of places to go. But this is where I come back to C and saying it doesn't have to be just in free agency. You can go make a trade with prospects and bring on salary of a guy who's still a good hitter, still a good player, but that team's maybe trying to dump some salary, trying to dump some payroll. Ball's hit in the gap here, and the Rangers are going to score another run. Yeah, this thing's toast. That's 6 runs. So I'm gonna wrap this up here pretty soon because this isn't gonna be a win, and I don't see the need to waste more time on this particular year as we're not gonna do anything this season. Daniel, thoughts on this happening with Luis Castillo at the helm? Daniel, my theory on this is this: the Mariners wanted to go to a 6-man rotation in September. They were not able to do this so because of because of Hancock's injury. So they had to go back to their 5-man rotation, Daniel. I think it's indicative, and it indicates right off the gate that those starting pitchers had some issues with fatigue going into September. You hadn't gotten them a lot of rest throughout the year because you were having to grind and fight through August just to get yourself back into this kind of contention sort of spot. And so I would say you look at the amount of innings he's got up on his arm. You look at where he's at age-wise. I think this year's a little bit different for pitchers than any years past, and nobody's really talking about it. And that is that there's a little bit of an extra fatigue factor this year with the pitch clock. Those pitchers are having to go bang, bang, bang. Whereas before you could throw a pitch and take 30 seconds and sit on a chaise lounge and have a cigarette and maybe drink a beer and then go and finally make your next pitch. And I think that that's taxed pitchers in a way over the course of the season that is we're adjusting to. We're just figuring out. But I don't think that this is on Castillo going bad or anything wrong with him or he's not a big game pitcher. I just think that this team ran out of gasoline. And we've been kind of through September, just kind of counting on the downward decline from August. And the car is almost to a stop. Devo, we need our 2 stars to step up. Julio and Castillo both didn't. Yeah, and I'm kind of referencing why I think Castillo didn't. With Julio, I'm not as much sure because he had stretches throughout the back end of the year where he had some time off, where he could have gotten a little bit rested up as we got down to this down stretch in a way Castillo did not. Beebe says, yeah, it's over. On to the Huskies game. Yeah, that's it at this point. I remember the time the lackluster moves during the offseason was concerning. It is definitely showing throughout the year. Mariners front office needs to get their act together. M's only team to not make the World Series in the major leagues. There it is, man. I don't think there's more of a better comment, a more salient comment than yours right there. Remember the time. We've never been there. This ownership constantly talks to us about being in front office, about being patient with their process and everything, where year after year we don't get there. We don't get back there. This year you almost look like you regress slightly as a team. You did regress slightly as a team. Last year you made the playoffs. Last year you won a series. Yet this year, having a full season of Castillo, this year with Julio another year older, playing more games than he played last year, you were somehow worse. You were somehow worse. It doesn't add up. I mean, it does show that the team needs to start getting aggressive with things and stop talking to us about how their pocketbook's light. Shouldn't be light. We just as a fan base made you the most profitable team in baseball for a second straight year. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? And you can't be talking to me about, you got to be a real fan. You got to be a real fan. If you're not going to be behind the team if they don't do this, you're not a real fan. Shut up if you're going to be one of those people that talk like that. Because if there's a fan out there that does take that track this offseason of seeing the Mariners soft sell their moves once again, be unwilling to spend money once again, or to take on salary once again, you can't then look at your fellow fan and go, oh no, you need to ride with this team, ride or die with this team. Don't just take that. Just trust the process. That's not fair. Because they're obviously at this point not doing what it takes to be done to go be a contender. And the team might get hot for little spells of the season. And maybe they strike lightning in a bottle with all of the prospects on their farm system. But I'll tell you, that's an anomaly kind of situation to happen. It's hard to count on that occurring. That doesn't always go down that way. It's easier said than done. But we'll see if they take this offseason, remember the time to actually start and maybe make some more aggressive moves. Take some actually spend some money. We'll see. Maybe ownership doesn't have the money to spend. Daniel says, if you make the playoffs, I have to think it generates $100 million if you make it around 2 or so. You certainly think it would be worthwhile from that standpoint too, Daniel. Yeah. But I know they made a lot of extra money last year. They didn't do a whole hell of a lot with it. I appreciate Castillo and Rodriguez getting their extensions, but that was about all you did, really. We'll see what they do, man. We'll see what they do. Daniel says, I'm sorry to see you this disappointed. I can tell you want to be excited about the Mariners. I really do, man. I do. And there's been about a stretch of just about every single stream I've done for like the last 4 streams. They've not scored a run. Like they can't even score a single run. And I was in that stadium last year. I was in there for 18 innings. Every single time we got to a 2-strike count, everybody in that stadium standing up and clapping. Every time an Astro came up to the plate, yelling cheater at the top of our lungs, doing everything we could in spirit, like I'm sure they're doing everything in spirit in that stadium right now to help this team on to win. And you're rewarded by that with a nothing burger, with a donut after 18 innings, 2 games worth of play to not one single run, barely even threatened to score throughout the course of that game. And you just come back again here now a year later and you find yourself saying the same thing, singing the same story. And it is disappointing, but it's all good, man. I appreciate you checking out. I appreciate everybody checking out. Sorry it's not on a brighter note, but it is what it is as we turn this stuff over, right? It just kind of is what it is with it. Beebs re-signed Kirby and Gilbert and get some bats. I don't like the re-signing pitchers right now like that, Beebs, with so much club control, because that's just going to eat up whatever available money they do have to spend. And then they're going to come back to us and say, well, we don't have the money to spend now because we've re-signed Kirby and Gilbert, and we already re-signed Castillo and Julio. So we'll end up right back in that spot of them turning their pockets inside out going, well, we don't got anything left. Pitching is a very tough little thing to go out there and spend for in advance as far as eating up guys' club control years. And I'm okay with doing it if you're going to get a significant discount, but you probably are not going to get a significant discount if you did that with those guys. I think you're going to have to kind of ride them out at least another year before we get to that spot of doing that with them, because you sign both those two guys and one of them gets a Tommy John surgery and boom, 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 boom. All right, we're going to wrap it up on that note, though. Sorry we're calling a little bit early here, but Mariners down 6-0. I'm not seeing them pulling much more from this game. Hopefully they do. Maybe I'm the bad luck here. Once I go off the stream, they'll start lighting up the scoreboard. Big Country, the AL is still going to be really good next year. A lot of teams not going anywhere. That's right, Big Country. And most of those teams not going anywhere, Big Country, are also teams spending a lot of money, or at least spending a significant amount of money. Maybe not league best, but they're definitely putting their chips into the center of the table. They're not sitting their chips going, William, I would hope it is rally time, man, but I promised I was going to be somewhere here at 7 o'clock, so I'm going to make my way out. Sorry, we're causing it a little bit early here, but I don't think you're rallying up in this game. You got one walk on the game, and your hitters have looked pretty much overmatched throughout. So, is what it is with it. I do appreciate everybody checking out the stream today. If you feel like it, hit the like button. I understand if not, because I'm kind of spicy today with this stuff, but that's all good. I will be back over on my Seahawk channel tomorrow at 4 o'clock to do a live stream at that time. Thank you guys for watching, and we will be getting some off-season content, Big Country, to your point on that. I don't know if I'll be doing a lot of live streams this off-season, but I will be doing some videos around the Mariners. I'm already putting some videos together for some Mariner content this off-season, so we will have that en route. I'll be looking at some free agents here for us, getting some more of that going along, and then we'll just see what they do this off-season. I appreciate you watching, Big Country. William, thank you, everybody, for checking out the stream here on this side of it, and we'll be back on the Hawks Nest side of this, my other channel, tomorrow. Hopefully the Mariner team this offseason can take this as a sign with the way that the season's ended up, that we got to do more. More is needed here. We can't just sit here in the center of this river on this raft and let the river just sort of take us down at the speed by which it's going to take us. Let's speed this up. Let's get some moors in this sucker. Dare I say, let's build an onboard engine in this thing and get it cooked. Let's go. Let's get it rolling. Team's ready. We got some young talent. We got big fat holes up and down this lineup years and years over. Let's try to find some solutions. My name is Brandon Kane. This is the Crow's Nest. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back soon, but before I do, even on a day like this, down 6-0 against the Rangers, having the season just about put to bed, please do not